Welcome everyone. Today's recipe is vegetable biryani. So I've taken some whole spices, coriander seeds, cumin seeds, fennel seeds, a little bit of cinnamon, green and black cardamom. I've dry roasted it for a bit. I will crush it in the mortar. Now I've brought my pan back to the medium heat and added about a tablespoon of oil and a teaspoon of ghee. I've added the crushed whole spices back in the oil and the ghee, and I'll brown it again a little bit. Here I've chopped up one medium onion, some green chilies and coriander stems, and I've added it. Now I'll lightly fry it till it's about pink. And I've got about a cup of chopped cauliflower that I've added, and about half a cup of frozen peas. I'll give this a good stir, and I will cover it and allow it to steam in its own juices for about 3 minutes. So I'm making this veg biryani for my husband and I. So I made chicken biryani earlier, for my son and my daughter-in-law, but my husband and I are somehow off chicken for some reason. So I made veg biryani for us. So this is the start after 3 minutes. It's partially cooked a little bit. I'm going to add one more vegetable to this. I had boiled some potatoes earlier we were going to have golgappas, so I took 2 of those potatoes. They were kind of smallish potatoes, and so these are 2 small or medium, big diced potatoes, not fine diced. And I've added it into my partially cooked cauliflower and green beans, and now I will cook all 3 together for another 3 minutes. It'll just cook in its own juices. So here is the status after 6 minutes, and everything looks cooked to me, or at least cooked enough to move on to the next step. It's sort of browned a little bit as well, so that's good. So at this point I'm going to add I've crushed up some tomatoes, about I would say 1 medium tomato, crushed it in the food processor, and I've added it in over here. And now I will add some spices, basically salt, turmeric, red chili powder, coriander powder, and a little bit of garam masala. So now this is spiced up. I did add green chilies as well, so this this was good. So now I've taken about a tablespoon of the yogurt that was left in my pack over here. I mixed it well with a couple of tablespoons of water, and I added it to the mixture to give it that creamy texture. And now I will allow all of this to come together and for spices to sort of cook through for another 3 minutes. I'm just tasting it quickly just to make sure I'm happy with the balance, and I was, because I didn't add anything. I'm going to cover it, continue to cook on medium-low, and so this is after another 3 minutes. So now it's been cooking for a total of 9 minutes, and this vegetable curry for the biryani is well done. It is actually quite delicious. You can just have it as it is with roti as well, but I made it with a bunch of different spices to give it that biryani flavor, so it was quite good. Now I will cover it and let it rest. And I did make rice, and I made rice, I made a lot of rice. I made 2.5 cups, and obviously I'm not going to use all of it over here. Most of it was actually used for the chicken biryani. For this recipe, I would say about half a cup of rice is enough, because that's all I really used for this. I used about 1.5 cups for the chicken biryani. I used half a cup for this one, and I had about half a cup left over that I just left it in the fridge. So the way I made the biryani rice, for both the biryanis is basically I took a lot of water. I think this is 8 to 10 cups of water in a big pot. Added some desi ghee, some bay leaves, some fennel seeds, some crushed up green cardamom or elaichi, as we say. And I'm going to salt the water well and add to this a teaspoon of jeera seeds and some garam masala. I'm also going to add in some cinnamon powder and fresh herbs, and you'll see them come here. Oh, this rice was delicious. It turned out so good. I sometimes make this rice just for normal. We don't eat a lot of rice, so when we do eat, I'll make it this way. I'll spice up the water with different spices. Sometimes I make it with like this and I'll add a little bit of turmeric, and it turns out all yellow and nice and golden. It's so delicious. But yeah, people always spice up your water when you're boiling rice. So I've added my fresh herbs here. I'm just roughly, doing it with my hand. I do add a bit of the stems as well, because a lot of flavor is in the stems themselves and not in the leaves. So it's nice to add those. I don't throw away anything. In fact, if I'm not using the stems in the recipe, I use them in my green chutney. I'm going to cover and allow this water to come to a boil. My rice is soaking elsewhere, and once the water has boiled, I soak the rice for about 15-20 minutes. It is basmati rice, and I use the 817 variety. And once the water has boiled and nicely steeped in the spices, I add in my rice. And then I will boil it all together just for 5 minutes. And in 5 minutes, it's about 80 to 90% done. And that's how I like it for the biryani, because it is going to bake in the oven at very low temperature for another couple of hours, and it will cook all the way through at that time. But if I cook it all the way through now, it's going to turn mushy when I bake it in the oven. So I've added in my rice. I'm going to cover it back, just leave a little bit open, and allow this water to boil for 5 minutes. And after 5 minutes, the rice is so nice. I tested it, I turned off the heat, and now I will drain all the excess water and leave this rice to sort of drain until I'm ready to combine the biryani. It's really, you could give the biryani some dum right on the stove top, but I like to give it in the oven because it just allows me to clean up the kitchen, get ready for my guests, spend some time with my guests, and in the meanwhile the biryani is going to take 2 hours in the oven or more. You can leave it for 3-4 hours. It's not going to harm it because I leave it on a very low temperature, which is 180 Fahrenheit. So here's the rice. It's already, it's nicely boiled. I'm just going to cover it with a clean tea towel and let it rest and drain slowly into the pot. And here I'm combining my veg biryani. I've got a casserole dish. I've greased the bottom a bit. I add a layer of the rice, and it's just for the two of us, so I'm not going to add too much rice. And so that's even this was actually a bit much. We didn't eat all of it, but we could eat it for 2 days, so that was all right. Now I did make this saffron milk, and again, this is a lot of saffron milk because I'm using it for 2 separate types of biryani. And just heat the milk a little bit in the microwave and steep some saffron in it for about 15-20 minutes, and you get this golden milk, which is so delicious to sprinkle on top of the biryani. So here is my veggies for the biryani that I made earlier, and I ladle them on the rice. This is the veggie layer. So I go rice, veggies, and then some other toppings, and then final layer of rice. So the other toppings I'm going to put on over here are fresh herbs. I'll use coriander and mint. So I've chopped them up roughly. These don't have to be a fine chop. And some fried onions. Now I don't fry my onions, I just buy the fried onions from the store and keep them in the fridge, and then that way I have them for any recipe that uses fried onions, and there are there are not many, let me tell you, that I use anymore. But before biryani, the fried onions is almost essential. And I'm going to add a very thin layer of rice on top of this, and sprinkle it some more with that golden saffron milk. It gives such a nice floral note. Now some people do add kevra water to their veggie biryanis, and you could certainly do that, and that pumps up the floral fragrance. But I don't do that, because in my mind, whenever I smell kevra, it's usually for a sweet dish and not for a savory dish. So it's a sort of mismatch in my mind. So I don't add kevra water to my biryani. I just add the saffron milk, and that is enough of a floral note for me. I am topping it with some sliced almonds. You could also add some cashews or raisins over here. I just like the sliced almonds. And now I'll wrap it up in foil, and in the oven it will go at 180-degree Fahrenheit for, until we are ready to eat, but at least for 2 hours. Here I'm showing you the level, the tiers. You can see that the veggie tier is definitely bigger than the rice tiers. And it actually turned out so good. My husband, who rarely eats rice and always complains when I make rice, had 2 helpings. So that tells you. And the next day as well, when I served him leftovers, he didn't complain. He happily ate it all. So it was a delicious vegetable biryani. Do try it, and please do subscribe if you like my recipes. There's one almost every other day.